Welcome to Salute and Biohacking podcast. My name is Vanessa Bertinotti and my mission is to build an Italian-speaking tribe that shares my same passion for health optimization and biohacking by bringing to the table experts and people who inspire me. All the information contained in this podcast is purely informative and does not replace medical or therapeutic consultancy. On this episode, I'm super grateful and excited to welcome Alan Graves. We will talk about the importance of supplementation for healthspan and longevity. Alan is the CEO of 𝐷o_NOT_AGE.org, a health research organization with a mission to extend healthy lifespan for as many people as possible. They provide a specially selected suite of research-baked ingredients designed for longevity and healthspan. I recommend 𝐷o_NOT_AGE.org because they offer the most cutting-edge longevity supplement for commercial use, such as NMN, resveratrol, TMG, spermidine, calcium alpha-ketoglutarate, sirtuin 6 activator. Their products are pure and third-party tested, so you know exactly what you're getting and how much. For the listener of my podcast, 𝐷o_NOT_AGE.org is offering a discount code. Just add on 𝐷o_NOT_AGE.org and use the code SALUTE to get 10% off. Alan, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm thrilled to have you here. Thank you for joining us today.
No problem at all. I'm looking forward to it.
Great. So first of all, before we dive into today's topic, can you tell us about your journey and how you got to where you are now, why you have decided to create 𝐷o_NOT_AGE.org and how this mission started?
I can. Whilst I am the CEO, 𝐷o_NOT_AGE.org is the culmination of lots of hard work from people that are far smarter than me, thankfully. We have helped hundreds of thousands of people on their health journey, and we're not going to stop until it's in the billions of people. Essentially, where we sit is between the researchers. Obviously, we have our own researchers, but we also fund a lot of other research as well. And then the other side of that is, to close the loop, is the consumer-facing website, 𝐷o_NOT_AGE.org, which is somewhere people can go to get their supplements, their testing kits, and health advice as well, whether it's on sleep, diet, exercise. And the reason we do that is because we couldn't trust any of the supplement manufacturers with our ingredients, so we decided to close the loop and have a consumer-facing website ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Great. And what makes 𝐷o_NOT_AGE.org unique compared with other companies that operate in the same field?
So I understand the question, but nobody does what we do. So we're a health research organization. Mm-hmm. So while a consumer may be able to find other places to get supplements, mm-hmm. but they're all businesses that are operated solely for profit. So we are people before profit, hence why we use our profits to fund research. So we're mission driven, which means we only actually provide what works. The mission is to extend healthy lifespan for as many people as possible. So when you go to 𝐷o_NOT_AGE.org, you know that what we provide actually works. So I think that's the biggest difference. Whereas a typical online supplement seller will sell anything that people will buy. That's the key difference.
Brilliant. So your mission, as you said, is to extend healthy lifespan for as many people as possible. You have a vision that looks to the future and that involves working closely with researchers. Can you tackle a bit more on this topic and why, so the way you see your company evolving in the next 10, 15 years?
Sure. So as well as doing our own research, as I mentioned, we also work with laboratories around the world. Mm-hmm. Sometimes ingredients, sometimes we get funding, sometimes both. Anything that helps the mission to extend healthy lifespan for everyone. Ultimately, what we're looking to do is achieve longevity escape velocity, which is, so at the moment, for every year you stay alive, you gain 3 months on the end of your life because of advances in this research. Eventually, we're going to have, for every year you stay alive, we get at least a year in advances in this research, which is when things get really interesting.
It's fascinating. So, and what do you think? What is the mindset a person should have when it comes to extending health span and longevity?
I think the main mindset shift that needs to happen is that when people currently think of someone that is 100 years old, they imagine wrinkly and decrepit and not able to live life to the full anymore. The idea with longevity is to get you above 100 years old whilst having the body of a 30-year-old.
Yeah, it makes sense, yes. And I'm curious about your lifestyle changes. You are in your early 30s and you are passionate about health optimization and lifespan. What are your favorite 3X that has most improved your biomarkers and your well-being?
I guess that's a difficult one because things like NAD levels that I'm sure we'll talk about later, you can't boost in any meaningful way for free. But things like fasting for most of the day is highly recommended because that's not only free, but it actually saves you money on food. So the other big one that lots of people miss is sleep. Getting your sleep routine right is very, very important. We send lots of emails to _.org members about it. So those that are on our email list will have all the hacks and everything they need about sleep on there.
Yeah, I got you. And can you give us the top 5 markers that you think matter most for health span and longevity that you could draw from the lab tests?
I can try. It's difficult because there's hundreds of thousands of epigenetic markers that are really important. We have a biological age, which we can test for. So I guess that would be one marker. CRP, which is an inflammatory marker. It's very important. Testosterone levels is important as we age. Magnesium levels, NAD levels. We have a test that shows you what your NAD level is. So I would go with those.
Great, awesome. Dr. David Sinclair's book, Lifespan, Why We Age and Why We Don't Have to, has profoundly inspired me. I think it is the most visionary book about longevity that I ever read.
Yes, I agree.
When the book came out in 2019, I remember that I read it a few times and I was so excited that I started taking NMN and resveratrol. I remember that at that time, _.org wasn't on the market yet, but about 1 year later, it entered the market with 3 ingredients, so NMN, resveratrol, and berberine. Why have you decided to start with those 3 specific products, and which are the benefits of each one of them?
Well, first of all, we were around in 2019, but initially we focused on the research side with the intention of doing that. But again, we found we couldn't trust any of the supplement manufacturers with our ingredients. So we closed the loop ourselves and now offer these health ingredients direct to consumer from the research organization. In terms of the ingredients and what they do, I can quickly cover that off. So NMN is an NAD precursor. It is popular, but we see NR, nicotinamide riboside, gaining popularity due to the price. Then there's resveratrol that activates SIRTUIN-1, and the benefits of this are many. If anyone wants to dive into the science, there's a science page on the _.org website, which is a great resource. And then finally, the third ingredient that we initially launched with was berberine. And this is used as a healthy and natural alternative to metformin. Essentially, what it does is it ensures that your blood sugar doesn't spike when you have a meal.
Yeah. And scientists continue to debate which of the 2 biosynthetic precursor, NMN or NR, is superior regarding safety and efficacy. You sell, as you said, both of them. I personally prefer NMN. What are the differences between these 2 NAD precursor and which one works the best for you?
So depending on stock levels, I take both. So whatever the warehouse ships to me is what I take. I know that both of them work very well. So I've got no problem taking either. I think the decision is purely down to the consumer. And the reason we see so many people taking NR now instead is just because it's a slightly better price. But in terms of efficacy, we don't really, there's no concrete evidence to show which one is superior. I think they're both coming out very similar. But in terms of safety, that's the one thing we do know is they're both very, very safe.
And when is the best time to take NMN or NR?
As soon as you wake up. So yeah, literally before you clean your teeth, before anything, I would recommend taking it as soon as you wake.
You also sell a NAD test kit, so anyone can test their NAD level from home. Can you explain how your NAD test kit works and why have you decided to provide this test kit?
Sure. So we always want to provide tangible results. Let's say you're 35 years old and you're in okay health. You might not feel like Superwoman overnight just because your NAD level went up. So we provide a simple at-home kit that lets you test your NAD levels. It's very simple. It's a lancet, stab it into your finger. You let the blood drop onto a card, send that card off, and then within a couple of weeks you have a result to see what your intracellular NAD levels are. Most people use it twice a year, and that is a good way to sort of see the steady increase.
Great. And maybe a thing that it's important to understand, what are the things that lower NAD levels?
What are the things that lower NAD levels? That's a good question. So the easiest answer is time.
Okay.
They decline pretty slowly until you're 30, and then it's pretty drastic after that. And then once you get past 50, it's very, very dismal. So most of the time people ask us, when should I start boosting my NAD levels? And we tend to say late 20s is about right for most people.
Great. And you also provide a biological age test kit. How this other test works? What does it measure exactly? And what is the goal to do this test?
Sure. So the goal is to reduce your biological age. It's another tangible metric that people can use to track their journey. Everybody knows their calendar age, but do you know how old your body actually is? Because let's say we take two twins, one of them lives a very healthy lifestyle, takes the right supplements, does the right exercise, eats the right foods, and then the other one does the opposite of all those things, never exercises, eats McDonald's and cakes all the time. Obviously, they're both going to be the same age at 30 years old, but their bodies are not. So what we're doing is showing you, obviously there's two extreme examples, but we use epigenetics to calculate this. So the genome, as we know, doesn't change, but epigenetics is what sits on top of the genome. Epi just means on top of. So essentially that is the lifestyle effects. The good news is the number's malleable with the right lifestyle changes, supplements, etc.
And what is your strategy to measure your progress? Do you prefer to track your NAD levels or your biological age? Which one of the two tests you are doing more frequently?
But personally, I prefer tracking my NAD because it's just so vital to health and aging, and it's a more direct marker that is easily changeable.
So how many times a year you do the NAD test?
That depends where I am and what I'm doing, because I'm always traveling around the world, obviously talking health. But I would say on average about 4 times a year. But as I say, most people tend to just do it twice a year. That is enough for most people. But obviously because of the industry I'm in, I think 4 times a year works better for me.
Great. And what's TMG? Why is it so good to combine TMG with NMN, for example?
So TMG stands for trimethylglycine. And essentially what it does is it ensures the NMN becomes NAD, which is what we want.
And can you explain what methyl donors are and the benefit of supplementation with the methyl donors nutrients? I think this is a very important concept to understand all the big picture.
No, totally. Methylation just means where like a methyl donor attaches to another molecule. So in simple terms, it is the process of changing one molecule to another. So in this example, NMN becoming NAD. we can't take NAD directly because it's not absorbed by the gut, despite what lots of online sellers will have you believe. So as long as you're taking your NMN and a methyl donor, so TMG is the one that we use, then that will ensure the NMN does become NAD.
Great, perfect. And what are sirtuins? How your product sirtuin 6 activator works, and what are the benefits of these supplements?
Sirtuins are the proteins in the body that do the repair work. So just purely by living your normal life, you're doing damage, and the sirtuins repair that damage. And as you age, sirtuins become less and less active, and as such, we see the effects of aging. So keeping them active is key. There are 7 of them. They're just called SIRT1, SIRT2, etc. until SIRT7. And the most important one is actually sirtuin 6. So we developed the world's first and currently only verified activator of sirtuin 6. It is 100% natural. People feel the results immediately, and it is our most popular ingredient by some distance.
Okay, interesting. And why many biohackers combine NMN and sirtuin 6 activator together?
Well, the main reason for combining an NAD booster such as NMN or NR with SIRT6 activator is because NAD is actually the fuel for sirtuins. So you can activate sirtuin 6 or any other sirtuin as much as you like. If you don't have enough NAD, it won't be able to do its job properly. So NAD is the fuel for sirtuins, and they go together very well.
Yeah, it makes sense. And Dr. David Sinclair used metformin in his longevity protocol. Why metformin has become so popular? What are the main benefit and the downside of this prescription drug? What are the differences between and the similarities between berberine and metformin?
Well, I think so. If people want to Google it, then there's something called the TAME trial, TAME, headed up by 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐞𝐬, and that is already showing some good effects of what metformin can do. Originally, metformin was designed just for people with diabetes because it helps to control blood sugar.
Yeah.
There are a couple of downsides, but I don't think they're huge. Blunting the effects of exercise and things like that have been spoken about. But from our perspective, we just focus on berberine. Berberine is a natural ingredient rather than a pharmaceutical. And studies have also shown it's slightly more effective. So we see it as having more positives and less negatives. So berberine is the one that we recommend to control blood glucose.
And another popular product in the biohacking community is spermidine, because it's really well studied. Can you talk about the benefit of this particular supplement, and what are the data showing about spermidine?
Sure. So the main benefits 𝐷oNotAge.org members see with spermidine is a better recall, so like a better memory. Studies have also shown an increased spermidine intake is linked with a longer life as well.
So those are the 2 main benefits. Okay.
Yeah, I believe so, and this is purely based on the feedback from the 𝐷oNotAge.org members. Whilst we do have studies that show it can improve and increase memory and retention, I think now that we have so many hundreds of thousands of members, the feedback we get is now a very good data point as well.
Great. And what about the molecule calcium alpha ketoglutarate? That's also another product you provide, the 𝐶𝐴-𝐾𝐺. Can you dive into the benefit of 𝐶𝐴-𝐾𝐺? It is correct that it also have positive effects on the color of the hair, or it's just a legend?
Yeah, so we do hear that a lot. But it's important to mention that the studies on 𝐶𝐴-𝐾𝐺 have only proven reduction of greys in mice. Okay. So we can't make those human claims. But again, we have good feedback from our members saying that they've reduced their numbers of greys, but there's no clinical trials in humans as yet that I'm aware of. So, but 𝐶𝐴-𝐾𝐺 is good for stronger bones. It's shown a reduction in biological age in humans. It increases glutathione production, and that's why it remains popular across the globe.
And is it okay to combine 𝐶𝐴-𝐾𝐺 with other supplement? I think it's better to take it away from other supplement. Is it correct?
Well, You can combine 𝐶𝐸-𝐾G with other supplements as long as you don't use the extended release version. Then there's no issue. If you use an extended release formula, then it can be dangerous to combine it with any other supplement, even if you take that supplement a few hours later.
What,
So that's
what,
why we use it.
and what do you mean by the extending formula?
So essentially, you can take most supplements in an immediate release form or an extended release form.
Okay.
And with 𝐶𝐸-𝐾G, if you take an extended release form, it can have contraindications with other supplements. For example, berberine is one of them.
Ah, okay, great.
So that's why we use the immediate release form.
Mm-hmm. And which are the best do-not-age.org supplement for skin health?
That's a good question. So I think the most obvious ones would be our pure hyaluronic acid, which is a high molecular weight hyaluronan. If anybody's not seen Professor Gorbanova's TED Talk on hyaluronan, I strongly advise they go to YouTube and watch it, or it's also available on our product page. So we know that helps to reverse wrinkling, helps to increase skin hydration. And then the other one that we have, which is relatively new, is our hydrolyzed collagen peptides. Hopefully I don't need to go into the benefits of collagen for people's skin because they're pretty obvious and well known.
But maybe it's interesting to know the difference between collagen and collagen peptide, because there is a difference, right?
Yes, that's right. So essentially collagen is long strands, and collagen peptides just means those strands have been broken up into tiny pieces. And the reason we do that, again, is for absorption, because we need the gut to be able to absorb these things that we're taking orally.
So collagen peptide is more bioavailable than collagen, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the collagen peptide are not only great for skin, but they can improve many other aspects of our health. Can you tackle a bit more on this benefit of collagen peptide?
Sure. So most people don't actually know that collagen is the main structural protein found in the body. So think of it like the steel framework that many things are built on. It's vital for muscles, tendons, ligaments, and even bones. So one of the most dangerous things in later life is to break a bone or cause a significant injury that stops you from exercising. And because that's when we see a really sharp decline to an ultimate death. And keeping collagen levels high reduces that chance.
Great. I'm also really excited that you brought out just a few months ago a new ingredient called urolytin A. I did an episode of my podcast last year on mitochondria and longevity with Davide D'Amico, the group leader of research and development of Amazentis. They have developed a product called Timeline Nutrition based on urolytin A. This brand is quite popular in the biohacking community, but still not available on the European market, with the exception of Switzerland, because the university which support the research are there, and the UK. Why have you decided to develop this particular product, and what are the benefits of this molecule?
Urolytin A shows great promise in terms of muscle mitochondria.
Yeah.
It also improves muscle function. It also shows benefit in the gut as well. So it will become very popular over the next few years. We're big fans of the work Amazentis did on this, and we've already seen the benefits of our urolytin A. We're currently out of stock, so I don't even have any right now.
Okay, so you still don't have any feedback from your community, your user.
So it was only launched around a month ago. Yeah. So we don't really take the feedback that seriously until it's been out there for a few months. So there'll only be a few thousand people that are taking it at the moment. It's not a big enough pool.
Okay, great. And a product that do-not-age.org will release at the end of this month is creatine monohydrate powder. I take creatine every day, and I think that everybody should take it. There are some misconceptions about creatine. Many people has used creatine in an effort to boost their athletic performance or for gaining body mass and building muscle. What's creatine, and which are the benefits of supplementing with this ingredient? Can you dive into the science behind this supplement, how creatine can support our body and our brain?
I mean, I can, but I think, well, creatine has great benefits, and they're widely known regarding preserving muscles, keeping your brain healthy, etc. In fact, I've just had my protein about 30 minutes ago. But I think it's actually important to address the main misconception that is online.
Yeah.
Some people are concerned about it worsening hair loss, but this has long been disproven in multiple studies as well. So creatine won't give you hair loss, and for the low cost, it is a supplement I definitely recommend to everybody. In fact, it's probably worth mentioning that the pre-orders are actually being taken right now via do-not-age.org. They'll be shipped at the end of March.
And why it came out so late compared to the other product? Because maybe it's not for longevity and health span, or specifically, or so, but it's the most...
Well, I think it is related to health span, but obviously we want to do extensive testing to make sure we have the right product before anything hits the market. So we want to make sure we do all the hard work first, so that we can be confident once we go to market with it. Eventually, after lots of testing, we settled on creatine monohydrate. That seems to have the best effects. And then, of course, it's about trying to make sure that our price point is, so we don't create any socioeconomic barriers. We want to make sure that everybody can afford this. And that's when it comes into a scale.
And so your product are always so the goal is to have the best quality and the best price as well, correct? On the market.
It is. So before we put a product out, we put it through a couple of tests. Obviously, the initial one is always, is this going to move the needle? Does it actually work? And that's the biggest one. There's a lot more things that we test and try out that doesn't hit the market than does. And a lot of them have a small benefit, but we're not looking for small benefits, we're looking for large benefits. And so once it's passed that test, it then becomes, right, can we increase the quality of what's available on the market? And then can we reduce the cost? So things like creatine, it was already available. So we're trying to look to make the cost as low as possible so that more people can afford to take it. With some things like NMN, we did both, which is very, very rare. We increased the quality and reduced the price. So that's why we became known for NMN. That's why we're the largest supplier of NMN in the world. And things like 𝐟𝐸 activator obviously are novel ingredients that you can only get from do-not-age.org.
Great. And so all your products are pure, third-party tested, and quality guarantee. Can you explain this important concept to us better, and why it's crucial to educate the consumer to understand what to look for when it comes to supplements?
So this is an issue quite close to my heart, and I try not to talk about it as much as possible because, if for whatever reason I'm ever no longer the CEO at do-not-age.org, then I will go on a rampage discussing what I know about this industry, and I think most people would be disgusted. The supplement market is the Wild West. I don't want to go into it now because it would look unprofessional and just like I'm bashing others, but essentially the basic rule, and what I can say for now, is there's a reason we guarantee purity and quality to your door. So that doesn't mean just when we make the product, it means when you receive it, it is exactly the purity that we say it is. And the question people have to ask themselves is, do they want to extend their healthy lifespan? If the answer is yes, then do-not-age.org is the answer.
Yeah, it's inspiring to have like a company that have a strong mission and believe in the quality and of their products. So I'm really always surprised when I found this kind of companies that have a strong mission behind. So thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Can you share with us what's your supplement routine? Or maybe before I do that question, I would like to know which are the most effective longevity supplement for you. Can you give us your top 5 best ones?
That's like asking me to choose between my children. So 𝐟𝐸 activator would have to be first, definitely.
Okay.
Then probably Sulfura Boost. I would then say an NAD booster, so either NMN or NR. Then TMG, because that goes hand in hand. And then I need a fifth one. This is very difficult. I'll go with the collagen peptides, because I think that's one I'd like to recommend to more people, and I think lots of people can get benefits from it, just like I do.
Great. And can you share with us what's your supplement routine, if it's not secret?
No, it's not secret, but we could be here for another 3 hours.
We have time. We have some time.
So I take a product called Healthy, HELFI, that contains astaxanthin and a bunch of other healthy ingredients. I also take suprosterone, which is a natural testosterone booster. And then apart from that, the main ones are... I also take vitamin C, but I like mega dose on vitamin C if ever I'm feeling sick, or if I'm traveling, I'm not slept, something like that. So I don't take it every day. And then I take almost everything on the 𝐷o_NOT_AGE.org website.
Mm-hmm. Great. And just one question before I let you go. What are your own personally longevity aspiration?
Well, I would imagine that you mean for myself. So
yes.
For myself, it's to stay this healthy and active forever. But I think my own personal longevity aspirations are to wake the world up to what is possible right now, and the things they can do to improve their health today.
Mm-hmm. Great. And you think there is a book, because we spoke about the popular book of David Sinclair, but do you have some other book that inspire you, and do you want to share with us?
I think there's lots of good books on longevity, and I've taken bits from all of them, and whether it's Aubrey de Grey, 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐸, who I mentioned earlier, he's got a good book. But I think ultimately, one of the things I've been saying in 2023 is people need to become the CEO of their own health. Mm-hmm. And so people should take on that responsibility themselves. One of the things we've done to help people out is we've got something called the Starter Pack on 𝐷o_NOT_AGE.org. And what that does is it introduces people to this world, and then they can start seeing the benefits straight away.
Mm-hmm. So thank you, Alan, for this talk. It was really interesting, and I will leave all your contacts in the show note of my podcast. And I don't know if do you have maybe something you want to share, or that I left from this interview that you want to say?
All I would say is, if anybody's got any questions, they can email us, hello@𝐷o_NOT_AGE.org. We have a fantastic team that are more than happy to help you out. What we're trying to do is extend healthy lifespan for as many people as possible. And the only way we can do that is by reaching more people. So if anybody has any questions, please reach out to us. The team will be happy to help you.
Great. So thank you again. And I hope we could have maybe another conversation later to explore new product that you are developing. Okay? Thank you.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thanks.